New heights I'm gaining every day. Still praying as I'm onward bound. Plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand. My faith on heaven's stable land. No higher plane that I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. How about a nice round of applause for our amazing musicians? Pastor David, Pastor Rick. The word pastor actually is a combination of two words. It's pastor. That's a star. We're actually stargazers because the early shepherds spent their nights watching their sheep, but also studying the skies. So pastor, sheep herding, flocks, all those are associations with a concept of togetherness, leadership, fellowship, identity. Seeing all of you back today in such beautiful numbers is really refreshing, though we've been doing this for a few weeks, but welcome home, those of you who haven't been here for a while, physically. Our internet audience has stayed with us the whole time, and we assume you have, but we can't actually tell for sure if you watched every Sunday. Probably didn't, and we didn't either. But we're coming together again, and it's a fresh, my colleagues are outstanding. Our pastor, our senior minister is on a little time off, and we'll all be getting together as we think, by September. And other things could happen. We have to, at this time, learn how to roll with the punches. Go with the flow and grow with the flow, especially when it becomes a flood. And some of that has occurred. Our theme for the month is Emergence. Thank you, Majesty, for that wonderful song. It's that's a Stevie Wonder piece, and she and he are great friends. So am I with him. And I remember one time getting a FaceTime phone call from Stevie Wonder. I said, "Dude, you can't even see what you doing FaceTiming me?" Our communication was clearer. I always call him on FaceTime, even though he doesn't see. He hears better. He cannot see like we see, but he hears differently than we hear. I'm always picking his brain on what do you imagine? What do you see when you talk to me or you talk to anybody? What is your imagination? Describe your imagination, since he can see very slightly, like through just shades and images, but he has to use a creative energy in him to make sense of what he's or who he's talking to, or what he hears with a musical note or a sound. Keep on living, keep on giving, keep on growing, keep on expanding. That's what that song was saying. And here I am approaching my 70th in a few years. And I'm emerging. I feel like I'm a new person. I love the theme. The three words, emerge, emergence, and emergency, are all connected and contained within each other conceptually. So think about when we talk about emergence, think about urgencies or urges, emergence, and emergencies. Critical times when a different kind of response has to be made. They're all examples of the same theme that we've chosen for this month. Emergence, on my way out. Emergence is defined as the process of coming into view or becoming exposed after being concealed. It's a kind of awakening, Emergence can refer to things, it can refer to people, it can refer to realities, to ideas, to truths. The question that you would ask yourself is, how am I evolving? How am I emerging? What's happening to expand myself, my soul? How am I different in a positive way or even in a negative way? How have you changed through the last year or years, particularly during the vaccine, or during the virus, the vaccine, the 4 years of the previous administration, now a new administration, a lot of shifting that has taken place, because we know that shift happens. So we're trying to get our shift, SIJ, together anew with every change, with every challenge. We're always adjusting, like you adjust yourselves in your pew every minute. You pull an earlobe or your nose, or you scratch, or you go from one side of the hip to the other side, or you uncross your leg. You're constantly adjusting to the changes in your body, as well as the changes in your mind, changes to the environment. It's very easy now to put on a mask because we've been doing it now for a little over a year. Normally, it's like, get those masks off your face. I can't even tell who you are. And yet we put up with it. We tolerate with it. Some of you now realize why people were always asking you to take a piece of gum. You didn't know. And now I'm realizing that's why all those people were offering me gum. I thought they were just being generous. I've been offering myself gum since they were putting all that mask on. That's a different kind of adjustment. So emergence is defined as that process of coming into view. Why is that important? Because often we hide from ourselves. Often we obscure or disguise ourselves. We literally wear masks, or mascara, or scary masks. Whatever we can do to hide what we don't want unveiled, even to ourselves. The last several years has forced us as a culture, as a people, as individuals, to rethink ourselves, to review, and in some ways revise or re-envision who we are and who we aren't. Because when you consider who you are, you're also considering, or sometimes reconsidering, who you aren't. And as we age and stimulate ourselves in life, we are in this ongoing process of becoming. To emerge is the process of coming into being, coming into living, coming into doing. It's a coming into official human essence, or becoming important or impacting or powerful or prominent in noted or noticeable ways. All of you, all of us are impacting. All of us are important. All of us have a certain prominence. All of us have a certain influence. Sometimes we either ignore, and remember, to ignore, ignorance doesn't just mean to not know, it means to not notice. Ignore. Gnosis is the Greek word for knowledge. Or there's diagnosis, there's prognosis, and then there's ignosis, or ignorance. But again, that doesn't just mean you don't know, it means you don't notice or refuse to make note of. What are you paying attention to? Usually you pay attention to where there is tension. Then there's attention, then there's intention, a response, a deliberate intention following the tension. We've been experiencing culturally and consciously amazing tension in our country and in the world through all of this, what I call biological and psychological warfare. A virus is we don't know exactly how it arrived. They're still speculating on where and how it was actually transmitted to the rest of the human race. Not just one country or one continent, but the whole globe is experiencing a kind of mental warfare. There's a lot of poor mental health, or actually mental illness and psychosis around all of these variables that are difficult to manage simultaneously because there's so many changes. We haven't quite deadened ourselves to getting a phone call saying somebody we love or know or appreciate is either in hospice, as we heard the slight gasp this morning, or that they actually died. One of my young sons, spiritual sons, really is like a nephew to me because I grew up with his dad, only 47 years old, was barbecuing on July 4th. A young, charming, fiery preacher, head of the evangelistic department in his region, the denomination that I was raised in. He says to his sister, I want to just take a nap. I feel a little sluggish. He lays down and never wakes up. His father's had several strokes. His aunt is in the hospital. His grandfather, whose church he was about to take over, had a stroke and transitioned. And it's like a hereditary thing. This guy's 47 years old, and there's so many people around him who are in hospice care or somehow bedridden or under some invalids can't function. And yet this charming, alive, alert, energetic young man just dies. And it has left. I'm going out there tonight, this afternoon, to San Diego, where that is. And my brother-in-law, cousin-in-law, will be eulogized tomorrow. So I'm going as soon as this afternoon, because there's another death. So all of that, these deaths and rebirths and rebeings and being reborn, is happening all over the country. America is and the world is actually, doesn't seem like it right now, the species itself is being upgraded. The human species and the earth, all of this global warming, all of that's a part of the universe correcting herself, clearing and cleansing herself, purging herself. There's a lot of things that have been exposed in our country that needs to be expelled from our country, but we have to see it first and experience it and observe it about our human spirit, about our human nature. Some of us didn't know we could be so angry and so visceral and so all this road rage. Road rage doesn't just happen on common highways and streets. It happens in the roads of life, the paths of life. Some of you are having road rage on the job. Some of you have been having road rage in the home for years. Some of us who are parents, when your children get a certain age, you understand why some animals eat their young, because you love your children so much. It's like they're such a part of your life. You just, oh my God, you almost worship them and you don't realize you're worshiping them. And we are their first gods and goddesses. And sometimes there's this energy that is stunning. And being married and having children brought something out of me I didn't know was there. Parenting and preaching and pastoring, all that brings out things in our role-playing system. We all play a role. Being a parent is playing a role. Being a spouse is role-playing. On your job, whatever your profession is a role-play. To be somebody's friend, to be a sibling, you put on these different characters or characterizations to fit into a setting that makes you not feel alienated. We do not like to feel alienated. We do not like the sense of isolation. We don't like the sense of lack. We look for significance or signs or signals that we count. The late Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book Search for Meaning, said to live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning or significance or a sign or assignment to the suffering. What is the suffering leading us to? Why is that tension there? Why is my attention going to that tension? And what will I do intentionally after I feel that initial pain? To emerge is the process of coming into being. Again, into living. It's coming into official human existence. To emerge is to move out of or away from something and come into recognition or into view, from hiding or being hidden. What are you hiding or about yourself, or what is hidden about yourself that you sense has emerged of late? You've been able to get by with keeping it silent and quiet for decades. But the last few months and years, a part of your character has manifested that you thought you had fairly managed or even suppressed. And it shows up in the mirror. It shows up in the kitchen, in the dining room, on the job, in the car. And it shows up loud and strong when ain't nobody there but you. Ain't nobody there but you. That's wonderful grammar. It's just you and those feelings. And you feel something coming up. The Latin root for the word urge, because I talk about emergencies, urgencies, emergence. What's urging us? What is the unction? What is motivating you? What is moving us forward as a church or as a community or as a city, as a culture, as a country? The character of the nation. What are we doing? What's happening inside? We all will agree, man, I've never felt like this before. Or I've never had these thoughts. Or I never had to think these thoughts. I could always push them away. or ignore them. But the thought is a feeling. The universe doesn't judge us so much by what we feel, but by what we think about what we feel. And what we think about what we think about what we feel, and then what we think about that. So if I say, how are you feeling, sir? You say, I'm feeling pretty good. I say, oh, really? So what does that mean? I'm feeling pretty good. Most people say that and they don't feel pretty or good, but they say that. Oh, I'm pretty good. And if you wait a few minutes, they'll say, but I just have this pain over here. I'm doing great. I don't like my wife. I'm doing great. Oh, I'm doing fine this morning. I can't stand my children. If you wait long enough, they'll tell you all the reasons why they're really not doing that well. Well, we love life. Most folk just don't like life. We love each other. We don't usually like each other. We say to folks, everybody's welcomed. That doesn't mean everybody's wanted. That's a family reunion will tell you that. You want all the family to be invited, but you hope they don't all come. Like one man said, I want a great, big, loving, beautiful, warm, intimate family that lives in another state. Well, these little tensions come into our lives to bring out something. I just was in Costa Rica a few weeks ago with my friend Michael Beckwith at a retreat. The whole thing is around ayahuasca. I'd never even heard what that was. It's a plant-based science. And I thought of the scripture that talks about the Garden of Eden. Is it Eden? What don't make the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nation. That's all in the scripture. You can find a scripture to back anything you want to do. Good or bad, if you know it as well as I do. I can make up scriptures that fit. So we were all down there. These were business people, and most of them very successful doctors and lawyers and corporate executives and folks. And they were all going through issues in their lives, from childhood abuse or unhappy marriages that have left scars on them, or failures in business or failures in life. I found myself sitting doing a breathing exercise by the side of my grandmother when I was 10 years old, who made her transition with cancer. Just a couple of days after they let me sit near her. She was my goddess. I loved her with all my heart. I worshiped my grandmother. My mother's her only child. My mom's now 81 and living with me. My grandmother was only 53. But I had known she'd been sick since I was 8. And I thought, as soon as I saw her legs swollen, I said to her, Big Mama, what's the matter with you? She says, I'm all right, son. But I knew something was wrong. And I said to her at 8 years old, please don't die before me. I don't think I can live without you. She said, oh boy, it just hit me in the forehead like that. And 2 years after that, she was gone. But our whole family fasted and prayed for 3 days. Even me at 10 years old, I stopped eating. I didn't tell anybody because they wouldn't let me go that long, but I just stopped eating for 3 days and just drank water. The whole family was praying. My mom, my grandmother, my grandparents, my great-grands. We were all praying. We were people of faith. That was my first theological crisis, because I so trusted God to heal my Big Mama. And I was sitting beside her in the bed, and they said, well, you can go in there, but don't touch the bed. She's in so much pain. Don't wake her up. Don't bother her, Carlton. I said, I promise I won't. I just want to sit in there. And she was gone 2 days after that. But I remember sitting in that bed, when I was down there in Costa Rica, I thought, I was upset with my grandmother. I actually forgave her sitting in the chair. I didn't know I was angry because she died. And I said to my mother, who had 6 children, 7 if you include the first one who didn't last. And I said to my mother, after my grandmother passed on, I said, Mom, can we be best friends? Big Mom was my best friend. Can you and I be best friends? And her mother didn't respond. She thought, I got 6 of y'all. I didn't even want you. Because last week, my son's 27th birthday was on Saturday. Friday was Renee, my sister, and my brother's birthday, born 1 year exactly to the day apart. Mama had the first baby, Caroline. She transitioned within hours. Then my older sister, Antanya, was born. Then a year later, my brother was born. And then a year later, to the day, my sister was born. And then I was born. So by the time I got here, wasn't nobody glad. Wasn't nobody happy. All my friends have beautiful little baby pictures. I don't have none. Wasn't nobody taking pictures, no flash camera. Nobody was thrilled. I was just another, there were cloth diapers in those days. I just another diaper, another mouth to feed. Mother actually said she had tried to abort. Abortion wasn't legal, but she said she had heard if you could walk hard or if a woman fell or something, the baby could be lost. And so she said that she was stepping hard and stumbling around. I said, I was hanging on in there. Oh, no, you ain't getting rid of me, mama. I got to go to All Souls before I die. I got to preach the gospel of inclusion before I die. I got to be a heretic before I die. And now my mom says, well, you're the one I didn't want. I didn't even like your daddy when you were born, she says. And you're the one that's taking care of me. She says, you're the one I depend on the most. Because they're here in town. Now I have two other siblings here. We all came forth. We confronted something. And when I was able to say to my grandmother with tears just streaming down my face, I'm sorry for holding these grudges against you since 1964. I was only 10. I now understand differently. I understand myself better. I was even angry at God for not healing her. And I was angry at her father, Papa, my great-grandfather, because he was a powerful man of faith and prayer. How many of us have unanswered prayers? And when you come from exotic forms of faith like Pentecostalism, where you believe in demons and angels and you cast devils out and you expect tumors to disappear and God to open up blind eyes, and we had this extravagant faith. And it worked for us a lot, but not always. There were as many failures, maybe more. But there was enough like going to the casino, which I don't do, but everybody I know does. But they go there by faith, expecting to pull the lever at one of those times you're going to hit the jackpot. You come here each week thinking this will be the service that I will have a personal encounter with myself. That's spiritual and powerful and expansive and emerging, that it extends me, exposes me to who I am as well as to whom I'm not. Wrap your arms around yourself. And just hold the emergent and urgent you. This isn't a crisis. It may seem like it, that it's an emergency. And if it is, we manage the urges of the emergencies of our lives and of ourselves. Who you're holding is powerful and precious and divine and magnificent. That human being around whom your arms are folded is exotic and extravagant and extraordinary. Get to know who you are. Go ahead and emerge. Come out of hiding. We want to know who you really are, because we presume, and I don't think erroneously, that you are absolutely off the chain. My God, you're incredible. I want you to know that. You're created, creative, and you're creating right now. You're producing and reproducing yourself and your soul in sync with your reality. Be blessed, be expanded, be bountiful, and be your beautiful self. I love you dearly. Peace and blessing. Maggie?
Thank you for joining us. For 100 years, All Souls in Tulsa has been a beacon of this free faith. We offer our services and programs freely online for all those who are interested. You can help us to do this by making a one-time gift today or a reoccurring pledge. We really appreciate you joining us and being a part of helping us make All Souls in Tulsa what it is. Thank you.
This is an original song I wrote this year. I hope it inspires you all today. Breathe, learning how to let it go. Stop the negative feelings. Release them so I can grow Sing my song, dance my dance, make my mark, take my chance. You'll never know who you'll inspire until you walk in your own power. I'll never know who I'll empower. You'll never know who you'll inspire until you walk in your own. I know sometimes it can feel hard to go and follow your heart. It can be so hard to forgive, but when I choose, I begin to really live. You'll never know who you'll inspire until you walk in your own power. I'll never know who I'll empower. You'll never know who you'll inspire